These are the new Nightwalker Super 35 cinema lenses from Sirui, and I have been using them for the last few weeks. And in this video, I'm going to show you how they perform and the image quality paired with the A7IV and FX30, so that you can decide if these lenses will be a good addition to your gear bag in 2023. Full disclaimer, Sirui did not pay me for this video. They did send me the lenses to review, but everything that I talk about in this video is going to be 100% my own opinion and real-world experience. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. Sirui has released 3 prime Super 35 cinema lenses within this collection. You have a 24mm, a 35, and a 55. All 3 of these lenses are available on the Sony E-mount, Fuji X, Canon RF, and Micro Four Thirds. They each have a super fast aperture at T1.2 and go all the way up to T16. And with these cinema lenses, you get to choose the color that you want, which I thought was really nice to be able to choose if you wanted to go with black or with the metal gray. If you are watching this video when these lenses launch, you do have access to the early bird pricing, which it's already at an incredible value, especially for what you're getting within these Super 35 cinema lenses. If you wanted to purchase these lenses separately, you can purchase the 24 and the 35mm for $309. Or you can just buy all 3 of these lenses for the price of 1 Sigma Prime. For just under $1,000, you are getting the entire Super 35 cinema lens collection, which for me sounds like a steal. Because after testing these lenses, you are definitely getting some quality glass for the price tag. And of course, there are pros and cons because no lens is perfect, so let's go ahead and dive into the overall build quality. Right out of the box, you'll notice that they are super lightweight, but not too lightweight to make you question the quality of these lenses, because oftentimes we do equate weight to quality, or that bigger is always better.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
But we know that's just not true, right? Right?
Tell the truth!
In all seriousness, I love the fact that these lenses are lightweight and compact because it didn't affect the quality that I was able to achieve at all. It just made my filmmaking footprint that much less cumbersome. When putting this on the FX30, you'll notice that the camera body itself is actually heavier than the cinema lens itself, because the cinema lens is roughly 500 grams or up to 1.3 pounds, which for a cinema lens is super lightweight. The focus ring is smooth, but a bit loose for my taste. Oftentimes I am so used to like Sigma and Canon where the focus ring is a bit more stiff, where I could just have a little bit more control over the focus. This felt like I could easily just miss my focus or overshoot that because it is so fast. But that also could be because this is a sample version of the lens, so whenever these do launch, that could be different. And then the aperture ring is stepless, so you're not gonna get those clicks whenever you adjust your aperture, which for me, I'm not too sure how I feel about that because I do like that added security measure. I certainly prefer a bit more control with my lenses that require a bit more hands-on. Is this a deal breaker? Definitely not, because you're still getting quality glass, even though the aperture ring and the focus ring is a bit fast for my taste. Overall, I was really impressed with the image that I was able to produce with these lenses. And while no lens is perfect, I think these are going to be a great addition to my gear bag for the 2023 season, especially paired with cameras like the FX30 or the A7IV. Because of its super fast aperture, the bokeh is just really expressive and adds an extra aesthetic that you don't normally get with these APS-C cameras because of the smaller sensor size and the fact that you are dealing with that crop factor. Oftentimes you are losing a bit more of that creamier bokeh that we normally get with full frame cameras. So having a faster aperture with these cinema lenses definitely adds to the overall aesthetic for my image. I definitely see these lenses thriving during those low lit receptions, especially if you are using cameras like the FX30. And all of the sample shots that you are seeing in this video were shot with the Sirui 24mm and the 55. And another added bonus in what they promote on their website is that with all three of these lenses, you're not going to see any differentiation between the color tone and the sharpness between these lenses. Now, my images might be a bit more soft, and that's just because I am using a Pro Mist filter with all of these lenses. So let's talk a little bit about the cons with these lenses. And the first isn't even about the lens itself. It's really just about the variety of focal lengths. While I love the 24, 35, and 55, I personally wish there was a wider selection like a 16mm included as well. That way we can have a 24mm equivalent, and then we'd be able to cover an entire wedding day with these focal lengths. While we can still do that with what we have, I personally love shooting on a 24mm. That's what I'm using to record these videos. A 35, especially in this space, is just a bit tight. And then even on the wedding day, just having that extra perspective, that extra width is really nice. Now, I know that that is just being very nitpicking, but that's really the first con that I can think of. Because since these are crop factor, you are dealing with the 1.5 times crop. So a 24 is a 35, a 35 is a 50, and the 55 is roughly 82.5. And the next is the stepless aperture ring, which, as I mentioned before, I personally just love to have a bit more security and control. But again, is it a deal breaker? No, not really. I just need to be mindful not to fat finger my aperture ring. But to conclude, these are incredible cinema lenses for the price tag. At just under $1,000, you're getting 3 quality Super 35 cinema grade lenses for the price of what would traditionally be one Sigma prime lens or even a Canon RF or Sony G Master. I mean, those things are like double the price of all 3 of these lenses combined, which to me just makes a lot of sense, especially if you're just starting out, if you're trying to build your kit, you're trying to build your arsenal, and you need some quality glass and trying to save some money as well. I think this is a great option for you to consider, especially if you're in the wedding industry, if you are in the commercial space, if you're just creating for fun. I still think that these are going to be worth your time and investment just because of what you're getting out of these lenses. So if you're watching this video on the day that these lenses are released, you can find them in the description below. They are the new Sirui Nightwalker Super 35 Cinema lenses. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and if you're interested, maybe consider checking out these next videos. Until next time, guys, keep creating and telling beautiful stories. Peace.